Hi, welcome to another episode of the Feminist Pen, where I discuss very important female authors and female voices in literature. We cannot talk about female literature without including the Brontë sisters. They are very important in female literature. And if you did not watch my last episode, I talked about the brilliant Charlotte Brontë, and we are now moving on to her sister, Emily Brontë, very brilliant author as well. So let's get into it. As mentioned before, I am just looking at my notes, making sure I get everything correct as I'm speaking. So let's get on to it. Emily Brontë was the fifth born out of the six on July 30th, 1818. In 1824, Emily and her three sisters were sent to the clergy daughters' school in Conbridge, Lancashire. When her two older sisters, Maria and Elizabeth, died of tuberculosis, she returned to Haworth, a little village in England, with her sister Charlotte. After leaving the school, Emily continued her studies alongside her sister. This is the time where they wrote a lot of poetry and they made a lot of imaginary worlds and built their literary skills and just became amazing female voices in literature. They had unlimited access to their father's library, so they were also reading tons as preteens and early teenagers. Skipping to 1838, Emily became a teacher at Law Hill School, but only after a couple of months she left the position and resigned. Unfortunately, Charlotte and Emily traveled to Brussels to pursue teaching in hopes of creating their own school together and to learn foreign languages. At this time, Emily was deeply homesick, and their aunt, Elizabeth Branwell, did pass away during their stay, and the two had to return to Haworth. By 1847, Emily's work, Wuthering Heights, had been accepted for publication, but it was delayed because of Charlotte's work Jane Eyre being published, which I am currently reading. Unlike Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights received extremely poor reviews after it was published. Critics called the book too hostile and animal-like and just very aggressive and angry, but eventually it did become considered one of the greatest novels in the English language. Of course, Emily was inspired to write Wuthering Heights due to her observation of Victorian society's class structure and wealth, also adding her childhood writings and the dramatic landscape of where she lived. The famous hills, of course, did set up the overall vibe of Wuthering Heights. As we all know, as mentioned before, the Brontë sisters are very much known to create gothic novels, and Wuthering Heights did shock Victorian society because it challenged Victorian society. It was, in other words, they didn't want to read very controversial works, meaning the reality of Victorian society was very brutal and very cruel to women, and nobody really wanted to read about that at the time. Emily Brontë was very private and didn't leave a lot for researchers to go off of. many believe that we will never know the true Emily Brontë, her true personality, what she was like, what she was feeling, all of that. And she will forever remain a mystery in literature. Soon after the publication of her novel, Emily's health began to decline rapidly, unfortunately, and she died of tuberculosis in December of 1848. Emily Brontë never married and never had any children, and she sadly passed away at the young age of 30. I really hope you guys enjoyed this short little series about the Brontë sisters. I hope you guys tune in into the next episode about the lovely and brilliant Anne Brontë. And that is all for the